Good evening and welcome, ladies, to the While Up Net. This is Melanie AG4YL, net control for this evening's net. We meet every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Echolink ALARA conference node. Be sure to invite all WILEs you know to join us. We ask that only WILEs are licensed young lady ham radio operators check in and participate. The purpose of this net is to encourage you to become and stay active with amateur radio, help each other improve our operating knowledge and skills, and have fun. For more ham fun between weekly nets, check out the new While Up Net Facebook group. During the net, be sure to join us in the NFARL Do Drop In chat room by opening any web browser and going to nfarl.dodropin.org. Just put your name-call sign in the box and then click Login. WILEs who would like to check in, give us your call sign, name, and current location. And don't forget that there is a 3 to 4 second delay when transmitting through Echolink. This is Melanie AG4YL. We will now begin taking check-ins. Please call now.
KY, Sky in Washington.
KC8UFV, Chrissy, currently in Bellefontaine, Ohio. Or Bellefontaine, Ohio.
M2RJ, Rhea, in Wantage Township, Sussex County, New Jersey.
WA4YL, Dawn in Hudson, Florida.
AE7MB, Margaret, Battleground, Washington.
KC8PKY, Linda, Knox, Indiana.
Kilo Alpha 1, United Lima, November, Nisi, Andover, Massachusetts.
W5MQC, Michelle, Norman, Oklahoma.
KC9ZHV, Lauren in Albany, Illinois.
This is KN4DVO, Stephanie in Marietta, Georgia.
This is Carol, K4SAS, Moorhead, Kentucky.
Victor Alpha 3, Whiskey Hotel Uniform, Carol, Hamilton, Ontario.
Kilo Bravo 4, Radio Mike, Rosemary, Houston, Texas.
KA7SKY, Sky in Gardner, Washington.
Okay, thank you, ladies. It looks like we got about all that I have showing up here so far on Echolink. I will call again for any new check-ins toward the end of the net. Let's go ahead and get the ones we do have down, though. I got you, Sky, the first time. KA7SKY, Sky, Washington. KC8UFV, Chrissy in Ohio. N2RJ, Rhea, New Jersey. WA4YL, Dawn from Florida. AE7MB, Margaret from Washington. KC8PKY, Linda, Indiana. KA1ULN, Nisi from Massachusetts. W5MQC, Michelle, Oklahoma. KC9ZHV, Lauren, Illinois. KN4DVO, Stephanie, Georgia. K4SAF, Carroll, Kentucky. VA3WHU, Carroll, Ontario. Ontario, KB4 RM Rosemary, Texas, and I know that a C4YL Catherine here in Georgia is also here with us. So welcome, ladies, to the WILE UpNet this evening. And again, my name is Melanie, AG4YL. I'll be your net control for this evening, and assisting me is Catherine, AC4YL, because I need all the help I can get. Good evening. We had some questions that came up on the Facebook group regarding the big operating event. Some say it's the biggest, or at least the most visible event for amateur radio here in the United States and Canada for the year, and that would be Field Day. Field Day is coming up this weekend, so it's just about upon us, and there's been quite a few questions regarding Field Day and information. Field Day is sponsored, and it's an event that covers both the United States and Canada. It's put on between the ARRL and the RAC. I'm going to stop for a reset. Okay, and I see we've been joined by Susie, N8CGM. Good evening, Susie. I do have you in the log, and good to see you here this evening. But I'm going to put a few links in on our Facebook page, but there were a few questions as to what Field Day was and why it's why it even exists. And more than 35,000 radio amateurs get on the air for Field Day, and it's a lot of fun. ARRL describes it as a picnic, a camp out, practice for emergencies, an informal contest, and most of all, fun. And I think that pretty much sums it up in a nutshell as to what is Field Day. One of the questions that came up on Facebook was people needing some information regarding the rules. Now, the rules between 16 and 17, there wasn't a lot. A little more getting into the satellite info, and of course, W1AW schedule does change a little bit between the 2 years, but that is about it. W1AW, of course, continues its bulletins, but it's a little bit different timing for Field Day. And there's been a little bit of changes in the VHF-UHF area of it regarding specifically satellite mode. So for the most part, things have stayed the same. And what I think one of the questions were, what are categories and how do categories work? Let me pause really quickly for a reset, and let's try to go on it real briefly. And between me and Catherine, we're going to put up all these links for you on the Facebook page, so everybody will be able to find all this information. So the category can be kind of confusing, and we're just talking about the regular categories that you'll run into, not necessarily the Go to Station. Go to Station has its own kind of subcategory within that. But to simplify, there is a number such as 3A or 3 Alpha, 2 Bravo, so forth and so on. The number designates how many transmitters. So 22A is 22 transmitters capable of simultaneous operation. That means if you're sitting there and you have one transmitter working on one band, and you go ahead and have another transmitter set up to maybe do some satellite work, but you're the only operator, you are still one. It's simultaneous operation, capable of simultaneous operation. Then you get into your classes. Class A, your club or non-club portable. 3 or more persons. So club or group of 3 or more persons. Set up specifically for field day, not regular station locations, not facilities intended to be permanent stations or any other kind of permanent structure for field day. And that doesn't get you the portable designation. Class A is a club or group of 3 or more persons, portable. All contacts must be made with the transmitter and a receiver operating independent of commercial power mains. Otherwise, you get to be listed as a Class A dash commercial. So there's Class A and Class A commercial. It gets kind of confusing, doesn't it? Then there's Class A battery, and that is a club or group of 3 or more persons using battery. I'll pause for reset. And that happens to be a low power. All contacts must be made using an output power of 5 watts or less, and it must be something other than commercial power mains or a motor-driven generator. So you can use batteries, solar cells, water-driven generator, etc. Then there's Class B, which is not a club, and it's a group less than 3. Okay, so Class A is a club, a group of 3 or more, and then there's Class B, which is 1 or 2 person. Regular Class B is just like regular Class A. It's portable. 1 or 2 person portable, Class B. And then there's Class B battery, which is 1 or 2 person portable, output power of 5 watts or less, and something other than motor-driven generator or commercial mains. Then there's Class C mobile, Class D your home stations, and Class E your home stations on emergency power, and Class F, which is EOCs, Emergency Operations Centers. So if you're involved in ARIES or RACES, things like that, you might be meeting or drilling from EOCs, Emergency Operating Centers. So that's your Class F. So again, in a nutshell, Class A, those are for clubs and groups of 3 or more. Class B, 1 or 2 person. Class C, those are mobile stations, so stations capable of operating while in motion and normally operated in this manner. It includes maritime and aeronautical motor. Class D, home stations, just plugged into the wall, regular commercial power. Class E, which is home stations using emergency power. And Class F, Emergency Operations Centers. So there's a brief overview of your classes, and I'll be posting that link in just a moment. I'm going to pause for reset.
AG4YL, AC4YL here. Not sure if you're still paused for a reset or whatnot. So not getting any audio on this end. If you'd like to try again, please come back. AG4YL from AC4YL in the net.
Okay, sorry about that. That's weird. My transmitting button did not seem to work. So yes, thank you. I am here. Sorry about that. So the link that I posted up there is all the field day rules, everything that I've been reading off of directly. And as Catherine posted later, their maximum number of simultaneously transmitted signals and a designator indicating the nature of their individual group participation. So again, there is Ziggy. You have to tilt your head to the right and see it up there. Dawn posted it. It doesn't work the other way. If you go left, it's not right. Ziggy hanging by his knees from a pipe. There you go, like we used to have in the playground back in the day. So as Catherine said, the number of simultaneously transmitted stations and the class of operation, whether you are A, club or group of more than three or more I should say, more than two, B, one or two person, portable, C, mobile, D, home station, E, home station emergency power, and F, EOCs, emergency operations centers. So there you are. So if you're sitting at home and you want to play field day, that's cool. And you're just sitting there with your one radio and there's just one of you, and you're going to use your regular 12-volt power supply that you have plugged into the wall and get on the air and all that other good stuff. Your classification, because you have one transmitter capable of simultaneously transmitting, one, and you would be D. So your class would be 1 Delta. Pause for reset. See if I can come back this time. Now, see, something happened on my global. It's pausing for me, but for some reason it's not coming back globally. I have issues. So I'm going to go and check some of my settings here. So with that being said, are there, yeah, system-wide, left control key, and it's not momentary. Okay, don't know what my issue is. If it's raining, I'm operating from home as WA4YL, awesome. Catherine put a great example. If you're operating in your car, one radio, you are 1C. Keep in mind that that C is net if your car is parked in your parking lot. C is stations and vehicles capable of operating while in motion and normally operated in this manner. So if you're going and you're moving from say a park location to a park location, or from one area to the other playing radio, then yes, you would be mobile. If your car is on blocks in your driveway, this is not mobile. Okay. However, you could be 1E, a home station on emergency power if you're using the battery. Okay, so there you go. Is there any feedback? If you're crazy enough to drive and try and play field day, C changes meanings from mobile to crazy. I like this. This is good. Yeah, I don't think you're actually driving, or maybe you have one person driving and the other, like QSO parties, running from county to county, while the other person is working the radio. So yes, I like that. And as a reminder, we do have a bigger chat than what's going on here with Echolink over in the chat room, and that is nfarl.dodropin.org. Come by and put your name -- call sign in the box and come on over and chat with us. Pause for reset. Okay, so I'm staying over here on the main screen. I'm not taking any a chance here. Is there any questions, comments, tips, hints, anything that any of you ladies out there would like to offer? Throw your call sign out there, and we'll get you on here and give you the mic.
This is WA4YL. If I'm operating from my house, which class would I be? And I'll be using the house's power. So I don't know if that will qualify me. So can you tell me anything how to go about it? WA4YL, back to net control.
Okay, Dawn, that is a great question. If you're going to be operating from home using your house power, and you are running one radio at a time, you are going to be a 1D, 1 delta. And yes, everybody can play field day. Everybody can play field day, whether they're at home or out QRP or on a battery or with a club or anything like that. Absolutely. So because you have one station in simultaneous operation at a time, you would be 1. And because you'll be a home station operating from a permanent or licensed station location using commercial power, you will be a 1 delta. 1 delta. You may not count stations made with other delta stations, okay? So you can count contacts made with class A, B, C, E, and F field day stations. So other stations operating from home on commercial power will not count as QSOs for you. So do not chase other delta, whether it's 1 delta, 2 delta, it doesn't matter. Delta stations will not count for points for you, because that's just like making any other QSO. You need to be contacting Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Echo, and Fox field day stations for counting contacts. So absolutely, Dawn, you sure can play field day, and we hope to work you this weekend. Anybody else out there have any comments, questions, tips, or otherwise?
And to RJ.
KC8UFC.
WB1ARU.
Okay, and to RJ Rhea, you first. Go ahead, please.
Okay, actually I was just discussing this in another chat with some other field day people. They're doing it with a club, though. What they told me basically was, since they're going to be using multiple radios, they were asking around if anybody had filters. So my advice is, if you're using multiple radios, multiple operating positions, make sure your antennas are separated a good distance, and preferably if they're dipoles, that they're oriented in a different direction, because the interaction could cause your receiver, the noise level to rise on the band, and in extreme cases it can actually cause the receiver front end to be damaged. But I think most clubs have this done. A good thing they do is they use filters, either a commercial set of filters, or they use coaxial stubs, which are actually cut to a certain length and filter out certain frequency bands. But with the stubs, you need 1 per band. So it's something to look up, something to research, but something definitely you need to consider if you're running a multi-operator field day. But I guess most seasoned multi-operators have that already taken care of. But the new people who are new to multi-op, watch out. I got bitten by that on my first multi-op field day.
All right, Rhea, thank you very much for that. Great tip there. Great tip. Isolating those antennas to keep from getting in trouble if they're on field day, being in close proximity. Nisi, I see that you have a question. I do have you down here, but let's go to Chrissy next, KC8UFV. Go ahead, please.
Well, I've just got a couple. First, I would strongly recommend, if you're wanting to operate more than just very casually, using some of the logging software that's available out there that's specific for field day, because duplicates don't count either, and the logging software will help you check for duplicates before you actually make try to make another contact and get an angry operator on the other side because you've already contacted them on that band and mode. Second, it's very helpful to have another operator with you to help log, especially if you're doing voice or CW, because you're going to be very busy, and having a second set of ears and someone just log for you will make things so much easier than if you're trying to do all of that. KC8UFC, back to net.
Okay, thank you very much, Chrissy. Very good points, and I put a link up there. The ARRL just recently put up a piece regarding logging programs, and they link that I put up there in the Echolink chat talks about computer logging specifically for field day. I'll take you to that page, and there are tutorials from both Scott, who wrote N3FJP, and a gentleman that uses the N1MM Plus logging program. They've both done really good videos on familiarizing yourself, and that page is there. You can also, if you're unable to see the Echolink chat for whatever reason, if you go to arrl.org, it is on the splash page, the home page, news page. It's called Computer Logging Specifically for ARRL Field Day. When you click on that, it will tell you about the 11-minute quick start video from Scott, who authored N3FJP, and the 26-minute video by Doug Reese, AK4AO, of the Vienna Wireless Society, and it talks about the N1MM Logger Plus. So there you go, two programs that you can use specifically for field day. I've used both of them. I'm a big fan of N3FJP. My first field day, I used that software, and it's what convinced me to buy the package from Scott. And just so you know, N1MM Logger Plus is free, and it's free to use, doesn't cost a thing. Field Day, the Field Day software from N3FJP is, you can try it for free. I think you get just so many contacts. Let me pause for a reset, see if I can come back on this one. Ah, see, it's not working globally. Okay, odd, but there we are. Maybe I just need to reboot. Anyway, Scott and N3FJP, he has a field day contest log. It is $8.99. $8.99. And with any of his software, if you do any of his individual contest logs, if you purchase any of them, and you decide later you want to buy the whole package, you can get all of his software for $49.99, like everything, and updates, like for your rest of your life, kind of a thing. but if you buy an individual one and change your mind, decide, oh, I want them all, the price, anything that you've already paid on the individual ones, he'll take off of the whole package. So you're not going to pay for anything twice with him. You only pay once with him, and he'll take off all that balance. But anyway, that link for the field day contest log is posted there for you as well. So thank you again, Chrissy. I really appreciate your comments on that. And next up, Ann, WB1ARU had something to say. So go ahead, Ann.
Well, first of all, good evening. WB1ARU in Hanover, Mass. Glad to be on. Sorry I was late. It's too nice to come in the garden. I was just going to comment, which I did in text there, that if you are operating with a club for the afternoon or the evening or whatever, remember that you can't go home and make more field day contacts from your home station. It's very tempting, especially if you've only spent a few hours at the field day site and you've got the bug and you want to operate, but you only can be an operator in one place, not two. So just a by the way. I know when we used to do with our club, sometimes in the beginning we only went for the night owl time. We would do the late night shift and then come home. As time went on, we started staying the whole thing, and now we do it from home. We must be getting old, and we'll be doing it from home and celebrating our wedding anniversary at the same time. WB1RU.
Thank you, Ann. Very good point. Very good point. A reminder, and it's probably good practice with any kind of a contest. Not so much for like NPOTA or WWFF, that type of thing. I think it's a little more lax on how you make your contacts. But yeah, very good point. You can't play field day from different areas or under different calls or anything like that. The idea behind field day is it was designed to be it was designed to demonstrate the prowess that ham radio operators have for operating, setting up very quickly, making contacts, and tearing things down very quickly in a field type of position out in an environment. That does not exclude, of course, those people that are working from home like Dawn was talking about, because those people out in the field, guess what? They need permanent stations to contact with. In the event of an emergency, you do need those hams that are in areas that have not lost power or are not under a state of emergency to make contacts with, as well as those in EOCs. So it's very important, those stations, it's very important. And that's why the rule is those stations operating Delta cannot contact other Delta. Ann made a comment in the, I believe it was Ann, in the chat though, if you run on battery, you're considered emergency power. You may make home stations, would then be an echo station, and they may make contacts with any field day station. So if Dawn were to say, instead of using her power supply for her radio, if she were to drag her battery in there and clip her power leads onto that battery and operate that way, she would then be a 1 echo. And a 1 echo can make contacts with any other field day or field day station. All right, over to Nisi, KA1ULN. Go ahead, Nisi.
Oh boy, KA1ULN Nisi in Massachusetts. First, I took two points. You're going to operate by yourself. Make sure your QRZ.com entry has your email, because if you make QSOs, people are going to definitely want QSL cards. So they're going to want to send you a QSL card. My other point is just so I am going to be working with my club. We're a club station. We're going to be 2 Echo. We thought we were going to have to be 2 Alpha Bravo because we're going to be QRP running on battery. But we've been working very close with ARL, and they told us, no, you're 2 Echo. And the other trick is, Echo is home emergency power. We're not going to be home. We're a club, and the place we're going to be is nobody, the person, you know, that person that owns that home or that land is not in the club. So we said, whatever, we'll be 2 Echo. So just listen out for 2 Echo. We're going to be QRP, 5 watts. We're going to do CW most of the time. And I guess sideband late at night. And I'm going to do PSK. I'm going to do some CW in the morning and PSK in the early morning. So, you know, it's just... the rules are, they're there, but there's a little bit of interpretation you got to use. So listen for W1HH, Whiskey 1 Hotel Hotel. Thank you so much for running this net. It's very informative. Back to net.
Thank you very much for that, Nisi. I was just going over the rules. Will you be operating, you said you're operating QRP, will you be operating off of battery power then?
Actually, we're going to make 5 QSOs from solar power. That's all we need to make. When you're using solar, all you need to make is 5 QSOs, and you get those points for that. But, yeah, battery. It's battery. We're going to be 2 Echo on battery. QRP, so we're going to be 5 watts or less. And we're going to work the whole 24 hours. Back to net.
Okay, I'm puzzled then why why the ARRL would want you classified as a home station unless you're working out of an area that is normally set up as a station. Will you be in a field operating portable? This will be my last question and I'll stop bothering you, Nisi. Will you actually be in a field with temporary setup for your operations? Go ahead.
QSL. Yes, we will. Yeah, we thought we were going to be 2 Alpha Bravo, but we're going to be 2 Echo. So we'll see. Listen for us. We'll only be 5 watts. We're just using dipoles, 2 dipoles with ladder line. So the ladder line hopefully is going to help us a lot, but the 2 80-meter and 140-meter dipole, hopefully we're going to be kicking butt. So back to net.
Okay, very good. I seem to have fixed my button. Okay. That's not right. I mean I don't understand how they could say that was okay. Because and honestly, because that's going to cost some points of context there as well. I believe there's one more day ARR will be open, and it's just a suggestion. Of course, I wouldn't begin to tell you or your club what to do, but it's just a suggestion that I would call, because like I said, you have another day that they're actually going to be open. I'm trying to remember his name. I've actually talked with him. Really nice guy, and I'm going to get his info up here really quickly. Bart Jenke. I called Bart up at the ARRL, and just call him direct. Yeah, if he's not in, you can leave a message. He will get back with you. And he is his number is there in the chat. That's Bart's number. It's just a suggestion because that goes against everything that they're saying, and it just makes absolutely no sense. I'm not understanding that at all. So again, I'm not going to begin to suggest to tell you or your club what to do, but yeah, and I know I get the whatever. I totally understand that, but that's just kind of weird and odd. This will be my third field day, and that's a new one by me. But we'll listen out for you on your 5 watts, on your QRP. Definitely listen out for you. It'll be wonderful to see if we can actually work you on the air. And pause for reset. All right. I see we're joined by Carol, KP4MD. Good evening to you. Afternoon to you, Carol. Nice to see you joining us here this evening. We're having a discussion regarding field day, because that is a big thing coming up this weekend, and we were just getting questions and comments and tips and tricks and help and all that other kind of stuff from everybody out there. So how are you all doing, and is there anything else, anybody else have some questions, comments, suggestions, tips, tricks, anything like that, or would you like to tell people if you're going to be working field day, are you working from home, or are you working portable by yourself, or are you going to be hanging out and doing field day with your club? Go ahead and throw your call out there and we'll get you the mic, okay?
WA7AL and short time, if possible.
All right, Alita, please, go ahead, please.
This field day is kind of special for me. It'll be the first year that I will be a licensed operator. Growing up from, I guess you could say, birth till I left home, field day was always a family event. And so I always went with my dad, and we called it our birthday weekend. His birthday is 3 days from mine, and it's on the 30th of June, and his is the 3rd of July. So it was the only full weekend that was always landed together. So that's why we called it birthday weekend. But this will be the first one that I will be a licensed operator. So my club is doing the GOTA this time, because there's actually 4 of us that are going to be up there that are first years. So I'm kind of excited for that. WA7AL.
Awesome. Yeah, I just cut my own self off. I am just a mess on this end, I'm going to tell you right now. That is awesome, Alita, and I'm so glad you guys are going to be doing the Go to Station out there. That is what a field day is what got me really hot for contesting and crazy. Just like I so totally got the bug during field day. Catherine AC4YL on this net couple of years ago said, okay, Mel, you're coming to field day with me. And my club was less than, my club was not the right fit, and I think she knew that. She asked me what I was doing for field day, and I didn't have a way of saying, probably nothing, because my club doesn't really care whether I'm there or not, and is not very forthcoming with details, information, guidance, or invitations. So while trying to formulate that, she says, never mind that, you're coming with me for field day. I think she just inherently knew that I had no plans and didn't even know what it was or what it was about. And I showed up the day before in the morning to help out putting up the antennas, and I saw antenna launching, and I saw antennas going up, and I drug around cables and watched the satellite truck go up, and it was so exciting. It was it was crazy cool. And watching everything happen and everything get put together. And then it was like the coolest thing ever that Friday. And then Saturday, Saturday field day starts, Saturday afternoon. And that was the most exciting thing ever. And then Sunday, when field day was winding down and people were getting nuts, and I actually ended up logging for Catherine, that was the craziest, most exciting thing ever. So it was just an awesome weekend for me. Pause for reset. Now the Go-To station is so very cool and wonderful. The Go-To station, just for those of you not familiar, the Go-To station can be operated by any person licensed since the previous year's field day, regardless of the license class. So if you are newly licensed within a year, even if you are an extra, you may operate the Go-To station. It may also be operated by generally inactive licensee. So if you pretty much have had your license for 30 years, but you don't get on the air, you don't play radio, you don't have a radio, maybe you just kind of hang out on a repeater every now and then, play radio on the Go-To station. Absolutely. And also, non-licensed persons can get their first taste of ham radio, of course, under supervision of a duly licensed control operator. So it's just so much fun. It's really just so much fun to try and to do, and it was a crazy cool time. It was like the best times ever. So awesome. And it was fun. And that's how I got my first kind of, I think I like doing this contesting thing. So I see unlicensed can operate any station, even if there is no Go-To. You are correct. As long as and you can do that. That's under third party. That's under third party rules. As long as they operate within the confines of the control operator, they can actually. The wording is interesting there. They're not actually an operator. They're just a participant on the air, because the operator of the station, of course, is the licensed control operator, and anybody can get on third party. Absolutely. Good point, Ann. Well said. Pause for reset. So yeah, you can go play radio anywhere on field day, or go over to somebody's house, and you can always do that. Anybody that doesn't have, or they want to introduce some of their family members to amateur radio, bring them on third party. As long as you are there and you're on the bands within your licensing privileges, then you absolutely can bring someone in third party and have them have a QSO. It's a great way to get people introduced into amateur radio. And one of the reasons why they bring in a lot of city officials and local politicians for field day is to well, it's to continue to have areas for clubs to have field day, because a lot of them are in some kind of municipal park, a city park or a county park or something like that. And being able to set up and have that kind of environment is really crazy cool. The field day that Catherine and I participate in with our club, North Fulton Amateur Radio League, is not near, but it is it's relatively, it's closer than some. Some people go way, way out, like 50 plus miles out. It's not that far out. But it is in a park. I believe it's a Roswell City Park. I believe it's a city park. And it has, you know, ball fields. Well, they have lights in the ball fields, and that's where the wire antennas, where the ropes that hold up all the wire antennas go up. The big dipoles and the loops and everything like that go up on those lighting fixtures on the ball fields. And you know, they have soccer fields, and they have picnic pavilions, and that's where we have our GOTA station and digital station and the picnic on Saturday evening. And then we set up tents and take over huge pieces of parking lots. So they're very cooperative, and very happy that the club is there doing that. It brings in a lot of people to the area, and everybody's happy, but the politicians have to come in and shake their hands and get their time at the GOTA station. And a lot of fun is had by all. Anybody else out there? Any more information that they'd like to impart? Come on.
AAC4YL.
Hey, Catherine, and have a good evening there, Alita. We'll see you next week. Go ahead, Catherine.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Wow, lots of chats going on both sides here, and so just I'll make this real quick. So over in the Do Drop In chat, I posted a snapshot, or a screenshot, I should say, of the N3FJP Field Day logging program. If you want to see what it looks like, you can click on it and get a bigger picture. The link is also in Echolink, but you can't really see the picture until you copy and paste the URL into your browser. But it's in both places, and also a picture of Melanie and myself at the GOTA station in 2015. The link is posted here in Echolink chat, as well as the actual picture and link to the picture in the Do Drop In chat in farl.dodropin.org. You can hop over there and check those out, just to add some fun that you can see. We weren't having any fun at the GOTA station then. But yeah, lots of great suggestions and great conversation, gals. So thank you so much for all this info, and great net, Melanie. Back to net, AC4YL.
Excellent. That's fun. I had a great time. It was so much fun. I sat down there, and the station captain at GOTA asked Catherine if she would like to mentor me. In other words, would like to be the station captain or the control operator. And now, at that time, I had my general license. I'd just never been on HF. I took the general and the tech at the same time, but I was relatively newly licensed, and so I had never been on HF. I had barely been on the local repeater. And so we sat down, and I'm not sure which picture she posted. I haven't looked, but there's a picture where she's saying, okay, so you call CQ and you identify yourself, and then when they come back, you do this, and then you say that, and then they say this, and you say that, and then QSL, all right, and then you call QR. Is that got that? No. It's just nothing. That all just went right over my head. So without missing a beat, just as calm and as nice as ever, she just, and for those of you that haven't met Catherine, she's like the nicest person in the world. She has infinite patience, and she's just got the sweetest nature. And she just goes right back into it again. She goes, okay, so when you do this and they do this and you do this and they do this and you do this. Okay, got it? That time I had it. It sometimes just takes a couple times to knock it into me, but one of those pictures, and I don't know if it was the one she posted or not, but one of them is just, it just has me kind of looking like, okay, it looks like I'm listening intently, but I'm actually, if you look closely, my eyes have just glazed over. I have no idea what she's telling me to do. But I did get it the second time. I ended up making 60-something QSOs and got my Go to pin and had a blast. So anyway, in a few minutes, I believe the HFnet will be getting on, and 143.290. That would be an interesting HF frequency, but I think she was going for one. Hold on. Sorry about that. Realized I needed to break for a reset there. I guess can't find that one, really, Catherine? All right. If you go to nfarl.org and go down the left-hand column to Pictures and click on that and go to 2015 Field Day, there's like a whole slew of pictures of the club and the 2015 Field Day. I think it was the best amount of pictures. In fact, they even talked this year about there not being enough pictures last year. That 2015, there's a lot of pictures. If we want to see a lot of people having some fun on Field Day, I know it's not Gels Club, but it's pretty cool. You want to see what it's about, go to the nfarl.org and go to Pictures and go to 2015 Field Day, and you'll see a lot of pictures of a bunch of hams having a blast. Anyway, it looks like it's going to be 14,290, I believe, is what Ann meant. And Catherine put the link up there. Yep, Laurie, K4UPI, for those that have been with the net for a while. She was the original alternate net control with Catherine, and would take over those duties once a month, give Catherine a break. Back when, from the beginning, when Catherine first started the net, and did that for some time, and is now enjoying the job of her dreams, which takes her into net time. So great for her and sad for us. But every now and then she gets a break and gets to jump in and say hello. And so if you're listening out there while you're supposed to be working, hi, a good evening to you. Laurie, K4UPI. We do miss you here. Yes, there we go. She got it right on the chat. 14,290. 14,290. The HF Net with Ann, WB1ARU, out of Massachusetts. Give her a shout. Give her a holler. This net will be continuing for another 30 minutes. We encourage you, though, to join the HF Net. Just a moment. We encourage you to join the HF Net if you can hear her and you can work her anywhere else. So you can get on 14,290. Go check it out. And you're welcome to stay there as long as you want, or go and have dinner or do whatever you need. If you would like to come back after taking a short break and rejoin this net, we also welcome that. This is your net. You're free to come and go as you please. This net will be going for another 29 minutes. So please do that. And for those that are staying, do not have HF, or they may have some weather, can't get on right now, stick around, hang out. Anybody else have some more info, questions, details, or participation stories or anything like that pertaining to Field Day? Throw your call out there and we'll get you the mic. Go ahead, please.
This is Carol, K4SAS. Good evening to everybody on the net. Just enjoy listening to everybody. But I am going to participate in Field Day with our local club, our Aries group, and the Moorhead Amateur Radio Society. And our call that belongs to the club is Kilo Yankee 4 Hotel Sierra KY4HS, Kentucky 4 High School. It used to be. I got that call many, many years ago when we had a club in the high school where I taught. So that, and then I relinquished it over to our club. So I'll be operating CW, and I really hope that there will be another CW operator there who can help me log. They could probably help me log if they didn't know CW, but it sure would be nice if I can find somebody that can help me out. So if you hear our club, either on phone, there'll be other people on phone also. I'm a little bit concerned about the weather. Tropical Storm Cindy has arrived here in northeast Kentucky, and by Saturday morning, we're supposed to have gotten 3 to 4 inches of rain. So it's already raining, and I live by a creek, and when we have that much rain in a short period, sometimes we have some flooding here in our valley. It doesn't get in my house, but it does get in my detached garage. So I may not get much sleep tonight. I may be up and down, kind of checking the weather and listening to the scanner and the radio, 2 meters, to make sure that I'm safe here in my house. So back to you, Melanie. And you're doing a great job.
Well, thank you so much, Carol, for coming on there and giving us a heads up on the field day. And thank you for your kind words as well. So listen out for Kilo Yankee 4, Hotel Sierra, Kentucky 4 High School. That's a great story of that call right there, and we'll definitely be looking out for you. Somebody had mentioned it earlier about having a logger for you, and my first field day back in 2015. I've mentioned it before. It's when I first used Scott and 3FJP's field day program, and Catherine had operated before and had logged. Lori had logged for her. Lori K4UPI had logged for her in 2014, and so Lori was working with her OM on the satellite station during 15, and so Catherine asked me if I would log for her, and I said, okay, you realize who you're asking to do this, right? I just got on HF the evening before for the first time. I've never logged a day in my life. And she said, nah, it's easy, I'll show you. And that's when I fell in love with N3FJP, because it was very easy to do. She showed me a couple of keystrokes, and bam, I had it. And you really do need that. Now, there was a gal that was working on the multi-mode station, daughter of a ham in the club, and not a child, a teenager. Now I think she's probably, is she in her early 20s now, Catherine? Jenna, she was over there, and I was listening to her, and she was sitting at that station by herself, logging with a foot switch and a headset and a computer keyboard in front of her, and this girl was working phone like nuts, like nothing. She was just blazing through. She was good, really good. It was nice. It was great to hear her, and I got to really listen in on how well she worked the pilot. So pause for reset. that was very interesting. Anybody else out there on field day? Past, present, what you're going to be doing this weekend? Please call now.
KC8PKY.
Yeah, good evening, Linda. Go ahead, please.
Well, I've got kind of a funny story about field day a few years ago. Still living in Detroit, and we went to a local park. For some reason, okay, we'll try this again. For some reason, it popped up and told me I was doubling. I don't know why. It's telling me I'm doubling again.
Let me jump in there, Linda. You've got it, and your signal's dropping, so I'm not sure if it's if you're using a proxy, or if the internet's doing a little something weird, or if it's just our typical Echolink gremlins. So yeah, Echolink lies. So you've got it, and go ahead and take it, Linda. KC8PKY, AG4YL on the net. Go ahead, Linda.
All right, let's try this again. We were doing field day in one of the local parks, and it decided to rain like crazy. We probably had 2 inches of rain standing on the ground. And we happened to have our travel trailer out there, using it as the go-to station. Well, come time to go home, we hooked the truck up to the trailer, and we tried to get out. We're in the mud. So we wound up being hooked up to another vehicle with 4-wheel drive to pull us out. So we decided we got a new sport. We came up with a new sport that year called trailer mud bogging. And that's our field day story.
Trailer mud bogging, that's great. Well, you know, I got in that situation with a car, and this was also up in Michigan, just west of Detroit in Allen Park, and I drove down a soft alley. For those not familiar, it's pretty much grass, and I drove in there with my car, and I made the mistake of stopping, and the car sunk until the undercarriage of the car was sitting on top of the ground. Had to get a truck to come and pull me out of that. So I know that one well. You get in that soft earth and just sink right on down in there, and you're kind of done. That takes care of that, boy. But it always seems to rain on field day. I don't know if it did last year or not. We didn't spend a lot of time at the club last year as we did in 15, when I was pretty much there the whole weekend. I had to work, so I didn't spend as much time there at all. And I'll have to work more than likely this weekend too, at least during the day. But it definitely rained in 2015, and it just it's a field day tradition. You get the rain. Anybody else out there? Comments, questions, stories, what they're going to do this weekend? Please call now.
This is WA4YL, doing in Florida. My second field day was the most interesting because we had Tropical Storm Debbie, and I decided to stay in a tent out in the field in the middle of nowhere with a repeater group. Had a lot of fun. Woke up, tent was flooded. Wound up spending the rest of the night in my car until daylight so I could get out of there. So that's my story, and this year I'm probably going to work at the club and work at home. WA4YL, back to that.
Oh my goodness. Waking up wet with a flooded tent, that is not fun. That is not fun at all. And then having to spend the rest of the time out in the car. Fortunately, at the park at Narfel, the go-to station's down kind of at the bottom of the park, but there's still ways to go, and it has pretty good drainage there. It's not too far away from the Chattahoochee River, but I mean it's pretty doggone close actually. But the river is controlled; it's dammed and has releases, and it's very controlled and very high wall, so it doesn't jump its banks or anything. But there is a lot of drainage going down to it. But the parking lot is sloped, and the tent with all the HF equipment and the multi-mode station, satellite station, HF station, that's all up in a tent, like the kind you see at wedding receptions and parties and stuff like that. One of those types of tents with the big 20-gallon jugs full of water anchoring it at points, and I mean they put it up right, and it has the sides that you roll down all the sides on it and seal it up, and you can seal that thing up really tight, with the exception of course of the floor, but it's on a pretty good spot of the parking lot. It doesn't get a lot of water, and it's kind of tucked in with a curb, so you don't get a lot of running water through the tent. The ground stays pretty dry inside that one. And then the go-to station, as I said, is down in the picnic shelter, and it's kind of down on the lower end, and it seems to be stay pretty sheltered from the water and any rain that comes in, unless you just had a really hardcore blowing storm. And then of course we have tarps that we can pin up to help keep that out. So it stays pretty dry through most storms and winds. The biggest problem is all the antennas that are strung up in the trees out there, because we have a lot of those as well as the ones on the light poles. So you have to watch out for the wind coming and whipping those antennas around. But we've been pretty lucky out there. Just don't sleep in a tent in low ground, right, Dawn? All right, so anybody else? Questions, comments, tips, tricks, or plans for field day? Please call now. Okay, cool. Nobody there. We haven't addressed this, and we have some time left on the net, and there's still a few of us left out there. For those that were working on the YLRL annual award, which was favorite flower this year, we haven't talked about it in I think since Dayton. So we've just I thought about it today. And a lot of us already have it. I know mine's completed, and Catherine's, I believe, is completed. However, we'll always be out there to exchange. For those that still want to play for this award, of course you may. This is, you're eligible to play through the end of the year. It is the annual award. The information is on ylrl.org annual award, and you can find out more about it there. W1 Hotel, all right, Whiskey 1 Hotel 33. Nisi, we will talk to you next week. And thank you for that dog trainers with 22 latitude antennas over. Oh, hey, there you go. Good idea. But for those of you that are playing and want to collect some more, or just need a few more till the end, if you want to make some contacts for that award this evening, just put it in your chat. And there, either side. Catherine is watching the. 33 to you as well, Don. Boy, everybody's just running away. See. Feel free to come on. I see Ann, KC9YL. Hello, Ann. Good evening to you. You catch in the log. don't know how long you've been there, but you know, my screen disappears and I lose everybody after a while. But we were talking about field day, and that seems to have petered out. Nobody has any more comments or remarks about that one. So if you want to do the annual award, while our annual award, put that in the chat on either side. Catherine's watching Do Drop In. I'm watching this one. Let me pause for reset. Okay, so it doesn't look like anybody out there wants to exchange for the annual award. Either they already have it, or the people that need it are on here. I don't see anything in my chat. Okay, so Catherine has been going over some terms, some terminology, definitions and terminology, which has been really kind of fun and interesting. And we have enough ladies on here this evening that she can always recap for us on next week's net. But if you'd like to do something like that for our last remaining 12 minutes here, 11 and a half minutes here, Catherine, or if you have something else you'd like to share with the ladies. And by the way, please go to the While Up Net group page on Facebook and post your comments there. I'm going to be posting a bunch of field day links there, and you all are free to. I'm going to pin it, and you all are free to post there as well, and tell us anything that you'd like to share with us, stories about field day, or where you're going to be for field day, or what the calls are going to be. Anything else you want to post. But to my pinned post, if you'll just put field day related posts, that'd be awesome. And you're always free to post anywhere else on the page that you like. So with that, I'm going to, there you go, post your field day pics and our live stream you operating field day. That'll be great as well too. Put it on there. We'll pin it. Start your own new thread and call it field day streams or field day pictures, and we'll go ahead and pin it. Stick it up the top. But I'm going to pin a post with the links to rules and regs and all that good stuff, so you all can access that, logging programs, all the sites, everything that I talked about the rules and the regulations. I'm going to pin that to the top, so you all can refer to that this weekend and up until there and read a little more about it. And then go ahead and start a new thread with your pictures and posts and streams and all that good stuff on there as well. With that, I'm going to send it over to Catherine, AC4YL. Catherine, go ahead.
Okay, very good. We still got a few folks left. I think some have hopped over to HF, but they may come back here this evening. But good evening, everybody. Great net this evening, Melanie. A great job, and it's always good and a lot of fun to talk about field day. Field day is awesome. And again, I just want to encourage you gals, if you're newly licensed or you've never played field day before, you know, don't let it intimidate you. Get out there and have fun. You can't really mess up. You just have a good time. That's what field day's about. So there's always plenty of hams willing to help you out and get you going and help you be comfortable. And I did find that photo, by the way, Melanie, you were asking about earlier, and I did put it in the Do Drop In chat and put the link in Echolink chat as well. And Sky had asked me to put them on Facebook, so I will post some field day pictures on Facebook for you gals to check out now or later, along with the other fun stuff we're going to post. So lots of good information on this net tonight. Hopefully it's helpful to you all. And again, as Melanie mentioned, if you could think of anything else, please add it to the Facebook group page after the net. We'd love to read your additional comments or questions. I'm sure several of the gals will be happy to answer them for you. Okay, let me pause for a reset here. Okay, so as Melanie mentioned, we've been going through some ham radio terminology, and so we've got time for maybe one or two tops. So we'll cover some easy ones tonight. and maybe do a little review on a couple that we have already gone through, but it has been a while. So the first one is kind of a fun one. It sounds scarier than it really is, but who can tell us what the definition of boneyard is in the amateur radio world? What does boneyard mean, and when do you hear about it?
This is WA4YL. Boneyard, I believe, is the night shift doing the field day. The people who do the overnight contacts. Back to net control.
Okay, Dawn. Anybody else have any other comments on boneyard and the definition? Okay, well then I'll jump in here. So Dawn, you were close, but not quite there. So I think you were thinking of graveyard shift. That's what a lot of the hams refer to as your nighttime operating. You get the graveyard shift, you get the dark shift, the shift in the dark. But boneyard sounds similar, but boneyard is actually what some people refer to as your flea market area at Hamfest. You go visit the boneyard, go get some older equipment and gently used high equipment in the boneyard, like last chance equipment, right? So that's the definition of boneyard. Close, but not quite the same as graveyard shift. They both end in yard, though. So, anywho, good one, Dawn, though, because that actually added another term. So very cool. Thank you. All right. So that covers one term for this evening, and we've gone through quite a few. So I think we will not do any more this evening on the new ones. But some of the interesting ones that are kind of funny when you think about them outside of ham radio terminology. We've talked about boneyard this evening, but we've also covered eyeball, QSOs, and timeout, and lids, and so lots of fun terminology that can sound kind of scary, but it's not really. Not in the amateur radio world. So anyway, I hope you gals had fun this evening. Does anybody else have any questions, comments, or any topic that you want to cover? We've got just a few minutes left, so if you'd like to cover anything, please call now.
Seven 33. Catherine and Melanie and Lauren and everyone else on the net, and Elena. Have a good night and catch you next Thursday. WA4YL. Clear.
All right, very good, Dawn. Well, 33. And Melanie, I think we've reached the end of the net. Would you like to go ahead and take it back and close it out? AG4YL, AC4YL.
Okay, well, according to my MFJ Atomic Dual Time Zone clock here, we still have 3.5 minutes left of the net. And my computer, which is updated by this time, says the same thing. So I'll be glad to close out the net in just a moment. You brought up a few interesting things about definitions and some that we've covered before and have ended up with. And just thought I'd touch on a couple for those that are new to field day and those that will hear some terminology. Section is one that you're going to run into. I'll be posting that link In field day, one part of your exchange is going to be your section. Now, if you live in a state like Georgia, your section is Georgia. But if you live, for instance, in the city of Toronto in the province of Ontario, your section is going to be Golf Tango Alpha, the Greater Toronto Area. That is your section. California has a bunch of sections. In fact, it's probably broken into more sections, I believe, than any other state. It's also one of our larger states. So you'll be exchanging section. And some of those that you'll run into, and again, I will post a link on this, but for instance, EMA and WMA, Echo Mike Alpha and Whiskey Mike Alpha. That's Eastern Massachusetts and Western Massachusetts. Then you have, of course, your Zone 2s, which is Eastern New York, New York City, Long Island, Northern New Jersey, Northern New York, Southern New Jersey, Western New York. I'll be posting the link to this PDF. It's a section list that ARRL has updated as of January, but it hasn't taken any big changes. And that will tell you what you know. When you hear Sierra Delta Golf, you'll be able to look up here and go, oh, that's San Diego. But you'll log it as Sierra Delta Golf. So that's something that you'll run into with field day as well, are sections. You may not be familiar with that. There's a few contests that uses sections, and they're ARRL RAC sections, which is the American Radio Relay League here in the United States and the Radio Amateurs of Canada in Canada. That's their official sections. And any other contact that you make that is not from the United States or Canada is listed as DX. So even if it is, say, Mexico or, say, Colombia or someplace like that, Costa Rica, it's all considered DX. DX. So if it's not U.S. and Canada, it's DX. And if it is U.S. or Canada, you'll be exchanging sections. As I said, sometimes that section is your state. Colorado is just Colorado. Kansas is just Kansas. However, California is broken into East Bay and Los Angeles and Orange and Santa Barbara, et cetera, et cetera. And there, of course, is also Pacific, the Pacific section in Call Area 6. So hopefully that helps take a little bit of the mystery out of the field day exchange for you all. And with that, we have arrived at the end of our net. We would like to remind you to visit the WildOpNet Facebook group. And we do like to thank Lauren, KC9ZHV, for live streaming recording of this net, making it available to all through YouTube. And we'd like to also thank ALARA for the use of this Echolink conference node, the North Fulton Amateur Radio League for their Dewdrop-In chat room, and all linked and listening for your ongoing support of this net. This is Melanie, AG4YL, closing the WildOpNet and returning the ALARA conference node back to normal use. 33, and see you next week.